Alright, so I'm back and I'm here to talk to you about Maestro by Bradley Cooper. And I might even do this pretentious thing where I change the color to black and white, I change the aspect ratio, might even change the camera angle, might even light up a cigarette while I'm at it.
Hello, I'm Lenny.
Hello, Felicia.
So I went to see Maestro in cinema yesterday. It's funny because I think it was the first time I went to see a Netflix film in theaters. So I know every now and then in New York and LA or sometimes in Montreal you have a chance to see a Netflix movie in theaters. Never really happened here before, so I was quite happy to be able to see Maestro, especially since La Maison du Cinéma was playing the movie in the Dolby Theater. Seeing Maestro in that theater was worth it alone. I'm also a big fan of Bradley Cooper's work behind the camera so far. I think A Star is Born is a great film, so I was really looking forward to see what Bradley Cooper was going to do with Maestro. And I have to say, I absolutely love Maestro. I think it's a fantastic introspection into the mind of a musical genius, with Bradley Cooper shining in front and behind the camera. I'm so glad I got to see this in theaters once again because the music from Leonard Bernstein is just like taking over the spectacle in a brilliant fashion. He was one of the greatest composers and conductors of all time. So just to see his life story brought to life was absolutely fantastic. And just like the subject of the film, Bradley Cooper, he kind of acts like a maestro behind the camera. You can tell that this guy is extremely talented. He paced every single scene in a beautiful way with kind of like those like seamless transitions, and it's done with brio. I think it's a spectacular film that also was able to connect with me emotionally. So sometimes you have those like giant biopics that kind of feel like underwhelming, or they don't they only scratch the surface, they don't go too deep into the subject. That might be a complaint. I feel like I've seen some criticism so far about the fact that the movie kind of feel like it's Oscar bait. I didn't have that feeling at all. I really connected with the whole thing. It's really like quiet when it needs to be and powerful, especially with the relationship between him and his wife Felicia. I'll get into that. It's also able to capture the personality of Leonard Bernstein, just like this flamboyant, very like great conductor, great artist, and they're able to portray that in a beautiful way. It's an important story that, first of all, Steven Spielberg was first attached to direct it. I feel like Martin Scorsese was also attached at some point. Both of them are producers on the film. When Steven Spielberg saw A Star is Born, he saw a first cut of A Star is Born, he went to Bradley Cooper and he was like, you need to direct Maestro, basically. Bradley Cooper took the job seriously, he went to work, and being able to shine behind and in front of a camera is extremely a difficult task. So as a director, it's kind of like a maestro. You have to conduct a whole orchestra. You have to work with so many different people, but also your actors. So being in front of the camera and behind the camera is just like a spectacular achievement just by itself. But the way he did it with Maestro, I felt like was perfectly fitting in some way. So yeah, there's kind of like those parallels between being a maestro and a director. Like I was saying, you need a vision, you need an understanding of everyone's job to work with, and you need to learn how to work as a team and to deliver a final product that kind of is like this work of art, really like a great film. And there's a theme in the movie, kind of like this subject of being a conductor versus being a composer. And as Lenny would say by himself, at the end of the day, he's just like a musician. I also love how they played with the form, kind of in a way of expressing the art. There's a lot of changes from color to black to white, also in terms of aspect ratio. So some scenes taken back in the past are in black and white, and when you move in the future, they're like you have that a little bit more of a modern look to the film. But the film looks very vintage. I really had that feeling I was watching like an old Hollywood movie at times from the 50s when it's taking back during that time. So absolutely fantastic work from the old team, from the costume design, the production. Bradley Cooper learned how to conduct for 6 years for a scene that only lasted 6 minutes, and he did the whole thing, and it really shows. Like he went all into that. He's really dedicated. It's a really physically challenging performance, and he really nailed it with the physicality, and he really embodies Leonard Bernstein. Like I said, I had some doubts. It kind of looked like an Oscar bait type of movie. Some people still think that. I don't. But you just looking at the makeup and the fact that they're trying to mimic an icon, it's kind of a challenge by itself. But just once again with the physicality and everything, I feel like Bradley Cooper absolutely nailed the role. I really love what he did there, and all the music in the film is from Leonard Leonard Bernstein. You know, understandably, it kind of makes sense, but the selection is always like really on point. The movie doesn't exactly focus on his creative process itself. There's some moment in there that it does that, and I love all of those, but it's more interested in this, you know, his personal life, his affairs with other men, and his relationship with his wife Felicia, which is played by Carey Mulligan. And Carey Mulligan, I just absolutely love her. Like, she has that unique quality to her, you know, kind of like that sweet face. She's really at the art of some of the more emotional scenes. Without saying too much, I got really moved during certain scenes with her character, especially towards the end. I was really moved by some of the scenes with her character, and it has something to do with her cancer. So I mean, I feel like we might have all lost people to cancer during our lives. So every time I see that in a movie and it's well done, it kind of like hit an emotional chord for me, and that movie did that well. But it's not just, you know, what happens to her specifically, but it's more how she was treated her whole life, kind of like living in the shadow of Leonard Bernstein, and kind of like being a really like impressive creative force by herself, and kind of like being stuck trying to be like this giant team player, and seeing her husband cheating with other men and all of that stuff. So just at some point it kind of like affected the whole family, and that's what the movie's about. It's more telling about his story with his family and with his wife, but they also do focus on his musical exploit, and so that's really interesting to see both of them. I feel like they juggled a lot of things in a good way, because obviously, like any biopics or real story, people are gonna say like, oh, they didn't talk about that, they didn't talk about this, they should have shown that. At the end of the day, I feel like that movie worked by itself for what it's trying to do. You get to see his relationship once again with his daughters, and how his affair impacted his family. I love that his family also gave their stamp of approval on the film, especially considering that some of the things that are being shown, it's kind of like really personal, and I could have seen like them being like, no, we don't want to show this to the world, but obviously they were like all well-known facts, so at some point you need to attack those subjects, and I feel that movie did that very well. The cinematography by Matthew Libatic was absolutely breathtaking, kind of like this gorgeous vintage black and white, those swooping camera movement, and his execution, because he's trying, like, Bradley Cooper has a really great vision. I was talking about the transition. Some of the scenes are absolutely like spectacular to look at, and that's also because of Matthew Libatic's cinematography, and trying to, you know, help Bradley achieve his vision in terms of the transition, the use of the soundstage, some bird-eye view shot. It kind of like create this dream-like imagery, which is fantastic. Seeing it on the big screen is something I absolutely recommend. I'm not used to seeing Netflix movies on the big screen, so I wish that would happen more often. I wish I would have seen The Irishman on the big screen. I wish I would have seen Pinocchio from last year on the big screen. But I'm glad I saw that one. So yeah, what I have to say about it overall is it's a great biopic. He's probably going to get a nomination for his acting. Might as well for his directing. I'm not so sure about that. We'll see. But it's kind of like what happened with A Star Is Born, being able to showcase your talent in so many ways, so versatile as an artist, and kind of funny in a way because the movie's a little bit about a very like a brilliant mind. So overall, I would give Maestro a 9 out of 10. Really like the film. Some things in it, like I said, it's I don't have like any specific negative thing to say about it. It might be too ambitious at times. This might not be everything in a movie that works, but it's not like I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I like the movie, so that's it. The movie's gonna drop in 2 weeks on Netflix, so people are gonna be watching this at home, either on their phone, in their bed, on their tablets, hopefully on the biggest screen you have in your home. But it's kind of sad to see that, considering like the level, the importance of the sound in the film. Since I've been watching the film, I've been listening to a lot of his work. I have all those classical songs stuck in my head, but it just goes to show like he had so much energy, and it's being translated into the film. And clearly, like Bradley Cooper was a big fan of him, and that really shows as a whole in the film. Great work overall. This is starting to burn my hands. So I guess that's it for me. I'm gonna head out with this. So yeah, Maestro, I give it a 9 out of 10. Great work by Bradley Cooper, and I recommend the movie. So seek out and watch it, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because that's important. Ding ding ding. Thank you very much. Bye bye.